risks and risks that we also face in the United States.
And we know why it happened. I want you to comment on this, and we're going to calls. When you get a huge $100 billion, $300 billion in the aggregate $1 trillion industry, they've got the lobbyists. Common sense people don't. They want to build these things.
That's exactly right. And it is about that. You know, I'll tell you, coming from 50 years of experience in a political family, the reality is it has shifted that direction more so now than ever before, because it is lobbyists. I've been back to D.C. once to do some work back there and see my brother once since he's been elected in the last 2 years. And my shock, you know, was I hadn't been there in maybe 15, 20 years, you know, in terms of just being there, but not on political business, since my dad was in the Congress. And my shock was I walked into a building, and we were headed to a lobbyist's office. And we're walking in the building. I said, well, where's the office? And the guy says, you're standing in it. It was 16 floors, and it was just one firm out of hundreds in D.C., and many dozens at least that size. And so I look around, and I started recognizing the reality of D.C. is it's inaccessible unless you are a special interest to a large degree. And that's why whenever you have the opportunity to exercise, you know, any political speech, you should, because these guys also still have to get elected. And until they finish hijacking the election process entirely, we really have to defend the republic, and in the sense of being, everyone needs to be active.
Absolutely, Dr. Begich. Expanding on that, the lobbyists come in and try to get government to mandate we must take dangerous vaccines. They come in and mandate that they're going to put their sodium fluoride toxic waste in our water. They come in and mandate that we're going to invade more countries. And the globalists are all competing with each other like a bunch of mad dogs. They're destroying their own self-interest. What is all these trillions of dollars worth if their own kids die of leukemia from the radiation?
Well, you know, again, if you look at it, there's a lot of reckless thinking and a lot of not thinking. You know, people are motivated by all different things, and people's ability to assert on full knowledge is pretty limited. And greed and human nature, in a lot of cases, overrides good judgment more often than we'd like to believe. And corporations, you know, that's how they keep score. You know, I mean, it's the bottom line. It doesn't have anything to do with national interests. These are multinational corporations, and so they look at the world as just a big marketplace with 7 billion people that might be consumers on some level. And when you look at the world and what's being developed in the world, you know, America's been abandoned on the basis that it's only 300 million people. They got billions trying to catch up, and that's why what you're seeing is huge inflation in commodity prices. It still hasn't really registered to the American public. You see the downstream effects of bad judgment on technology deployment and lying to the public when they get caught early in the game. You know, I'm thinking about the tobacco industry in terms of what they hid. You have no clue what the collusion between the Atomic Energy Commission and everything that's come from it, you know. And in terms of what the industry has built is huge. And so consequently, always again, it's public health is at risk because of some corporate interests that were able to stretch the politician and the regulation. And that's fundamentally why you're seeing rebellion. It's just a different form of corruption. You know, what's going on in the Middle East is rebellion against corruption. Well, what's the difference? You know, we just institutionalized our corruption. Now we call a bribe a campaign contribution. Well, what's the difference when it buys influence, outcomes, and access that you and I, as private citizens, can't get? That's a problem, and that is the root of the problem, quite frankly, is that equation, because it takes the republic, it takes this democracy away from us in that sense, and the representation aspect of how our democratic republic is set up is hijacked by soulless entities called corporations that have no political boundaries. That is a problem. They're driving too much political process in the process, and these are the kinds of outcomes when disaster hits. Oh, we didn't plan for this. Of course you didn't, because you ignored the obvious, and then lobbied your way through the regulation and the controversy.
Dr. Begich, I'm ready to go to phone calls. We're, again, very honored to have your expertise here.